Hello there, how are you? What did you do today? So, today we are gonna revise place of supply. So, place of supply is an important chapter for your examinations. All every year, at least one question comes from this chapter. So, before we start the provisions of this chapter, let us first understand why this chapter is important. So, if as we have read in the chapter supply, if a transaction is considered as supply, then whether IGST will be levied on it or CGST and SGST will be levied on it, to determine the tax part, we need to determine whether the supply is an interstate or an intrastate supply. So this chapter deals with the provisions relating to determination of place of supply, which will provide us whether IGST will be levied or CGST and SGST will be levied on that particular transaction. So every chapter you will study will use CGST sections, but this chapter is based on IGST sections. So these are the sections in this chapter which we will be dealing with, if I may. So for goods we have two sections, section 10 and section 11. So section 10 is for transactions relating to when both supplier and recipient are India, that is domestic transactions. And section 11 deals with when goods are exported out of India or coming from outside India to India. So in our syllabus we have only section 10. Section 11 will be considered at final level. Similarly, in services, we have section 12 and 13. So section 12 is for domestic transactions when both the supplier and recipient are India. And section 13 is for international transactions when any of them is outside India. So in this chapter, the concept of origin and destination you will learn. So origin is from where the transaction originates, from where the goods are being supplied, and destination will be the place where the transaction will end. That we will call as place of supply. So if the origin and destination have some border between them, it can be border of state, it can be border of union territory, and it can be border of a country. So if there is any border between the origin and destination, that is, origin will be location of supplier and destination will be place of supply. So if there is any border between location of supplier and place of supply, then it will be interstate supply. And if there is no border, both location of supplier and place of supply are in same state or same UT, then it will be considered as intra-state supply. And we will revise CGST and SGST, or in case of UTGST. So before we go to the provisions of this chapter, first let us discuss the important definitions for this chapter. So our first definition is interstate supply. So interstate supply definition is when location of supplier and place of supply both are in two different states or in two different UTs or between one state and one UT, then it will be called as interstate supply. So what it means is if supplier is in Rajasthan and place of supply is in West Bengal, so it is a transaction between two states. So it will be called as interstate supply. So this definition also includes these three transactions. So first is when supplier is in India and place of supply outside India. So if the goods are supplied outside India, then also it will be called as interstate supply. And another is supply to or by sales developer unit. So if we are supplying any goods to any sales developer or sales unit, or they are supplying to us, then it will be considered as interstate supply transaction. Why? Because we assume that if we are supplying some goods to sales developer, sales unit, they will supply it outside India. They will use our supply as inward, and then they will supply it outside India. So it will be deemed as export. It is like deemed export. So this transaction will be called as interstate supply. Then we have supply to tourist under section 15. So in section 15 we will cover this. If a foreign tourist comes to India, he buys some goods and he takes that goods with him to his origin country. Then he will get refund of the GST paid at the airport from the customs department, the customs counter at the airport. So this transaction will be termed as interstate supply, so that IGST will be levied, because giving him refund will be easier if IGST is applied, because if we apply CGST and SGST, then we have to give him refund from two of the accounts, CGST and SGST. So the giving refund will be difficult. So to make it easier, the law has made a provision that if we are supplying goods to a tourist who will be leaving India, who will be taking goods with him to his own origin country, then it will be considered as interstate supply. Going forward, now the definition is of intrastate supply. So intra is just opposite of what we have studied in interstate supply. If the location of supplier and place of supply, the supplier's location and place of supply both are in same state or same UT, then it will be considered as intrastate supply. Simple. Okay. So now we will be reading the provisions of section 10. So section 10 deals with domestic transactions involving goods. For services we have section 12. So this section will cover all the transactions for goods in which how the place of supply will be determined. It will tell us. So section 10(1)(a). So first is section 10(1)(a). So 10(1)(a) is when supply involves movement of goods. When supply involves movement of goods, when goods are moving from one place to another. So this clause A of section 10 subsection 1 will apply. So it says place of supply will be the place where movement terminates for delivery to recipient. So let us understand this with an example. Mr. A is from Rajasthan. He sells mobile to Mr. B of UP, and he delivers the mobile to B in UP. So the goods movement started from Rajasthan and terminated in UP. So place of supply will be UP. So this will be a interstate transaction and IGST will be levied. So simple provision, where the supply involves movement of goods, place of supply will be the place where movement terminates for delivery to the recipient. So next provision is bill to ship to sale. So bill to ship to sale, we have to understand the transaction first, then we will know what is the provision. So let's understand the transaction. Suppose A is the seller. He is from Rajasthan. B is the buyer. He is from Delhi. And so B gives an order to A and tells A that instead of delivering goods directly to B, he wants A to deliver goods to C. So Mr. A will be delivering goods to C on behalf of B, who is the third person. So here B is the third person, C is the second person, and A is the first person. So in this transaction, place of supply will be the principal place of business of third person. So in this transaction, Mr. A is supplying goods. He is delivering the goods to C on behalf of B. So principal place of business of B will be the place of supply. So place of business of B is Delhi. So in the transaction between, first transaction is A and B, the transaction between A and B, where A is delivering the goods to C on behalf of B. So place of supply will be the place of business of B, which is Delhi. So A between transaction one, that transaction between A and B, that is transaction one, the place of supply will be Delhi. So IGST will be divided. Now this provision tells us about this transaction where A is delivering goods to C on behalf of B, and the transaction between B and C will be covered by 10(1) clause A, which we have read just before it. So here the movement of goods is happening. So goods are moving from Rajasthan to Maharashtra. So movement is terminating at Maharashtra. So place of supply will be Maharashtra, and B B's location of supply is Delhi. So this will also be interstate supply, and IGST will be levied. So between B and C, the place of supply will be Maharashtra. Going further, next clause, clause C. So this clause says where the transaction does not involve any movement of goods, where there is no movement of goods, place of supply will be the location of goods at the time of delivery to recipient. So if there is no movement, so we will be assuming the location of goods when the transaction took place will be as place of supply. So let us understand this via an example. So this is the example of sale and leaseback. So suppose Mr. A, he sells his car to Mr. B, and Mr. B leases it back to Mr. A. A is from Delhi and Mr. B is from Punjab. So in this transaction, the car is not moving anywhere because Mr. A sold his car to Mr. B and Mr. B leased it back to Mr. A. So car is, before this transaction, car was with Mr. A. After this transaction, car was still with Mr. A. So there is no movement of goods. So place of supply will be Delhi. So this transaction tells us when there is no movement, place of supply will be the location of goods at the time of delivery. Now we have section 10(1) CA. This is a new section. So first understand this section, why this section was introduced. So this section was mainly introduced because of online transactions like e-commerce operators like through Amazon, or transactions happening at supermarkets like D-Mart, Vishal Mega Mart, where the buyer is unregistered. So if an unregistered buyer from another state goes to some another state to buy some goods, he can tell the shopkeeper, the seller, that I am from, let's say a buyer from Chennai goes to Karnataka. He can tell at the shop in Karnataka that I am from Chennai, please levy IGST so that Chennai government will get the benefit of the taxes. The tax will go to the Chennai government. It will help the people of Chennai in the development of Chennai. So this, to benefit the government of that state from which people are moving to different state to buy goods, this section was introduced. So let's understand. So this section says, notwithstanding anything contrary contained in clause A or clause C. So clause A was where the supply involves movement of goods, and clause C where supply does not involve any movement of goods. So what is written in those two clauses, we will not touch those clauses. If the transaction falls in any of those two clauses, then those two rules will apply. If not, then this rule will apply. So notwithstanding anything contrary containing clause A, clause C, where supply of goods is made to unregistered person, then the place of supply will be the address of recipient recorded in invoice. Okay, so where the goods are supplied to an unregistered person, so place of supply will be the location of recipient recorded in the invoice. And if the address is not recorded, then the location of supply will be the place of supply. So in this, we have a small note that recording name of state will be deemed as recording of address. Even if we just write the state's name on the invoice, it will be deemed that we have recorded the address. Okay, so one clarification we have for this section, notified by government, that when the goods are supplied through e-commerce operator like Amazon, Flipkart, or cases where billing and delivery address are different, or in the cases where billing and delivery address are different. So in that case, we will assume the delivery address as place of supply. Let me give you an example. So let's suppose you are doing article ship from Delhi. You are living in Delhi and your mom lives in Bangalore. So you want to buy some gift for your mom on Mother's Day. So you will order something from Amazon and you will tell Amazon to directly deliver the goods to your mom's home in Bangalore. So the billing address in this transaction will be your location, your residence of Delhi. But the delivery address will be Bangalore, your mom's home. So the delivery address and billing address are different and you are an unregistered person. So law says we will take the delivery address, that is your mom's home in Bangalore, as the place of supply. And depending upon the case, IGST or CGST and SGST will be levied. Okay, so now that we have another clause, section 10 subsection 1 clause D, which says in case of installation and assembly of goods at site, if a supply involves installation and assembly, like you order some AC, so it will involve installation of AC at your home or at your office, whatever the case may be. So place of supply will be the place of installation assembly of such goods. So if I order an AC, let me give you an example. Mr. A is from Bangalore, Mr. B from Delhi. So Mr. B is a seller of AC and Mr. A is buyer, and Mr. A gives order that please install AC at my another branch which is in Pune. So Mr. B will supply AC and install it at Pune. So the place of supply will be Pune and he will levy IGST. Okay, now we have section 10 subsection 1 clause E, which is our last rule for goods. Then we will study services. So when goods are sold during journey on board a conveyance including vessel, aircraft, train or motor vehicle, place of supply will be the location at which such goods are taken on board. So suppose you are traveling in a train. Let's understand this with by example. So this train is Delhi Mumbai Express. Suppose you are traveling in a train and this train starts from Delhi and has intermediate stations at Kota, which is in Rajasthan, then Nagda, which is in Madhya Pradesh, then Gujarat, Vadodara, then finally it arrives at Mumbai, which is Maharashtra. So let's understand this with example. Suppose Mr. A, who is a seller, boards train from Kota Junction, that is Rajasthan, and sells chocolate to other passengers at Nagda Junction, which is in MP, and deboards train at Vadodara station, which is in Gujarat. So what will be the place of supply? So whether it will be Kota, whether it will be Nagda, whether it will be Gujarat. So law says Place of supply will be the location at which goods are taken on board, where they are loaded into the train, where they are carried from outside into the train, inside the aircraft, inside the vessel, as the case may be. So Mr. A boarded train from Kota, so he took goods from outside the train to inside at Kota. So place of supply with the Kota and Rajasthan, and depending upon the case, whether the Mr. A seller is also from Rajasthan, then we will levy CGST and SGST. If Mr. A is from Delhi, then we will levy IGST. So this is all for goods. Now we will study services in next part. Thank you.